Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 6896. Markway asked nervously, Mr. Wade. If that happens, I will be wanted worldwide. How can I save my life then? Charlie pointed at Hamid and said to him, in the future, you will take your brothers and join the army of Commander Hamid. And serve him in the Middle East under an assumed name. I will send someone to take your family to the Middle East. And you can reunite there in time. Charlie originally thought of letting Markway join the Cataclysmic Front and serve as cannon fodder for it. But he changed his mind and thought, no. This grandson will soon become notorious. If he stays in the Cataclysmic Front, if it leaks out, the reputation of the Cataclysmic Front will definitely be affected. But Hamid is different. This old guy is an oppositionist himself. It is not surprising that he will do anything. Not to mention recruiting a few mercenaries who are engaged in terrorist attacks. Moreover, these people can also give some eye drops to the current leaders of the opposition. After tonight, they will definitely become notorious. At that time, the pressure of public opinion will be very great. Even if they can be thick-skinned and not make any explanations, their future situation will be very embarrassing. If Markway joins Hamid's team, it will only make them feel more uncomfortable. When Markway heard this, he was initially a little resistant in his heart. As a senior mercenary, he knew that the oppositionists were a mob. And letting himself mix with them was tantamount to throwing a lion into the sewer and hanging out with rats. But he thought again, he was lucky to be alive after this incident. He was disgraced and might be discovered or even assassinated, no matter where he hid. If he hid in Hamid's mountain cave, I can't say anything else. But it would definitely be safe. He wouldn't have to worry every day or run around. So, from this point of view, it was a good choice. However, he still wanted to gain a little benefit for himself, so he tried to ask. Mr. Wade, can you help me introduce him to join the Cataclysmic Front? I heard that most of the people in the front are of Chinese descent. And I am half Chinese. When I get to the Cataclysmic Front, I will work hard and make amends. Charlie said coldly, I advise you not to think about it. The entire Cataclysmic Front is loyal to me alone. How can I allow someone like you to ruin the reputation of the front? Markway was shocked. He didn't expect that the Cataclysmic Front was actually Charlie's. So he immediately said respectfully, Mr. Wade, rest assured. I will do my best for Commander Hamid until my death. Charlie hummed, turned his head, and looked at Bernard, and sighed. Mr. Arno, look at how much I take care of you. Once this incident is exposed tonight, you will be completely famous all over the world. The whole world will regard you as a hero. Your family and your brand will be wildly sought after. Not only will your social status rise rapidly, but the group's sales will also explode. You will be an awesome person this time. Bernard also figured out the reason. Saving hundreds of lives is a great deed. It can even make France and the Maldives write a book about him. Moreover, among the people he saved, there is also the international superstar Tawana. How great is this merit? Don't her fans worship her like a goddess? By then, the luxury goods under the group will probably usher in a crazy sales wave. And the allocation amount can at least double on the spot. When he thought of this, the corners of his mouth unconsciously rose to the sides. And the curved arc was harder to suppress than the recoil of the AK-47 when it fired continuously. So, Bertinard said happily. Mr. Wade, your plan is really great. I will definitely cooperate with you to the fullest. Chapter 68-97. Charlie said, "You old man is now taking advantage of me. I saved your life and gave you such a big benefit. Shouldn't you show your appreciation? Maybe, express your feelings." Bernard Arnault's heart skipped a beat. Although he guessed Charlie's motive, he still asked nervously, "How do you want me to express my feelings, Mr. Wade?" Charlie said, "It's up to you." Bernard began to worry all of a sudden, thinking to himself, "Charlie asked me to take care of it myself. What should I do? Can't ask me to give him $1 or $2 billion as a thank you fee, right? He has made so much money from selling me the rejuvenation pill. How can I have so much money to give him?" He changed his mind and said, "After this matter is exposed, the prospects of Whitehorse Island may be very bleak. After all, dozens of people died on this island. Which guest would not think twice before coming?" So, he made up his mind, gritted his teeth, and said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, Whitehorse Island is where our group invested $700 million and spent several years. It was just built a long time ago, and has not been put into use for a long time. Since you and your family like to come to the Maldives for vacation, I might as well give this island to you, as a little token of my appreciation." After saying that, he was afraid that Charlie would feel that it was not enough, so he quickly added, "Don't worry, I signed a 99-year lease with the Maldives for this island. I will pay the rent for 99 years in one lump sum, and invest another $100 million on the island as a future maintenance and upgrade fund to ensure that you and your family can enjoy the best vacation experience here anytime and anywhere. What do you think?" Charlie snorted and laughed twice and asked him, "Mr. Arnault, you are really generous. An island where dozens of people died and is about to become famous all over the world because of terrorist attacks. You gave it to me. Is this a waste recycling?" Bernard was embarrassed. Charlie's words hit the nail on the head. Although a total of $700 million was invested in this island, most of the $700 million could not be taken away. For example, when the land was reclaimed and the area of the island was expanded, none of the money could be taken away. In addition, all the hardware facilities on this island cost a lot of money. But if you want to recycle them, there is really no way to recycle their value. Because if that hardware is dismantled from the Maldives and then recycled, this business logic is almost as absurd as spending $100 to make a counterfeit dollar. Therefore, as long as what happened on Whitehorse Island today spreads, the island will almost lose its economic value. Even if the price is greatly reduced in exchange for tourists who don't mind these things to visit the island, the profitability will be greatly reduced. Therefore, this is almost the same as a piece of waste. Giving this thing to Charlie seems to be quite valuable. But Charlie is smart and can see through the water at a glance. So, Bernard gritted his teeth and said quickly, "By the way, Mr. Wade, there is another 7-star island in the Maldives, which is the JD Island of the Dubai Consortium. How about I buy that island and gift it to you?" The JD Island of the Dubai Consortium is just recently. It ranks among the top 3 in the Maldives and is worth more than $500 million. However, the international high-end tourism market has been somewhat sluggish in the past 2 years, and the revenue capacity of JD Island has declined. The Dubai Consortium plans to sell the island and withdraw. Chapter 68-98. When the market is depressed, most people want to withdraw. There are not many people who are capable and willing to take over JD Island. Bernard can be said to be the only one. He had previously communicated briefly with the Dubai Consortium. The psychological price of the Dubai Consortium is about $600 million. And he thinks that it can be taken for about $500 million. Since Charlie saw through his little idea of stealing the chicken, he simply bought JD Island and gave it to him. So, while Charlie didn't answer, he continued to add, "Mr. Wade, I might as well give you both JD Island and Whitehorse Island. If you think Whitehorse Island is not suitable for living by yourself, you can also use it for the soldiers of Cataclysmic Front to spend their vacation. They are all well-trained mercenaries. They shouldn't mind the death of some people on the island, right?" Charlie couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and smile. "Oh, Mr. Arno, don't say it, don't say it. Your attitude now is much more sincere than that profiteer face just now." Bernard Arno smiled politely and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Wade, I didn't think it through just now and made you laugh. Although today's incident will have a great impact on the reputation of Whitehorse Island, the impact on the entire Maldives shouldn't be a big deal. After all, this incident is an exception. And it is an exception planned by Blackwater Company. So the future business of JD Island will not be greatly affected. If you want to make money with this island, you can directly entrust it to others and earn very generous rent every year. If you think this island is not bad, you can keep it as a holiday resort for yourself and your family. After that," he said, "the overall hardware of this island is still very good. This incident will be more or less unlucky. But I believe that the experienced soldiers of Cataclysmic Front will not care. Don't worry, I will be responsible for the subsequent maintenance of this island." At this time, Bernard dared not have any fluke in his heart. The money that should be spent must be spent to have an effect. He wants to please Charlie, this is just a little bit of his heart. And he will definitely continue to show his goodwill to him in the future, so that it is possible to maintain a relatively good relationship with him, and also lay a good foundation for himself to continue to get the rejuvenation pill in the future. Charlie also said very readily, "Since you are so thoughtful, then I will certainly not let you down. Let's do this as you said, but you don't have to transfer the ownership of the two islands to me. Just put it in your name and you can hold it on my behalf." "No problem." Bernard patted his chest and said, "Don't worry about this, Mr. Wade. There is another advantage of putting it in my name and letting me hold it on your behalf. That is, my money can be transferred to these two islands through my group anytime and anywhere, to ensure the daily operation and maintenance of the two islands." Charlie nodded. "Just tell me when you have done this," Bernard said repeatedly. "No problem, leave it to me." "Oh, by the way, Mr. Wade, what will be done after the JD Island is bought? Will it be entrusted or continue to operate?" Charlie waved his hand. "Just close the business and put the workers on the island. All the staff will be dismissed, and double compensation and severance pay will be paid by you. After everyone is dismissed, I will send a group of soldiers from Cataclysmic Front regularly, some disguised as staff and some disguised as tourists, so that an internal closed loop will be formed directly for safety." Bernard couldn't help but praise. Oh, Mr. Wade, you are so resourceful. This internal closed-loop method not only makes JD Island look like it is still operating normally, but also allows soldiers from Cataclysmic Front to take turns to rest. Once you and your family come, they can also ensure the safety of the island. It really kills two birds with one stone. Chapter 68-99. Charlie didn't take the two islands in the Maldives seriously. If he wanted such an island, he could just take out a little money from his bank account to buy it. However, the islands given by Bertnard have many advantages compared to the islands he bought. The biggest advantage is that the property rights are hidden. Bertnard is an entrepreneur who specializes in high-end luxury brands. No matter how many high-end luxury resort islands he has, it will not attract the attention of those who are interested. In this era, the two main means to investigate a person's assets are property ownership and capital transactions. Just like some people will put the company and the house under the name of others. But the company's income, the rent of the property, or the sales proceeds when they are sold will eventually return to his hands. In this way, the chain cannot be guaranteed to be clean. As for the two islands, the property rights are under the name of Bertnard Arnault. After all, the external business is stopped, and they can't generate any income. Instead, they need to invest money. The funds come from Bertnard, so they don't have to worry about being found out. As for property rights, he had nothing to worry about. Bertnard would listen to him from today on. It was just two islands, and he would not play tricks on him for this. After everything was arranged, Charlie said to them, "Markway, take your people to shoot the bodies outside now. The plan will start soon." Markway nodded heavily, not daring to hesitate, and said quickly, "I'll do it now." Charlie looked at Bertnard Arnault and Tawana again and said, "Mr. Arnault, Miss Sweet, please handle the rest according to my previous requirements. I should have stayed in the water villa with my wife tonight and slept. And I should have known nothing about what happened here." Bertnard Arnault said respectfully, "Okay, Mr. Wade, don't worry. I will contact the authorities." Charlie nodded and said, "You must give full play to your identity as the boss of Whitehorse Island and your subjective initiative. After the incident is exposed, the whole world will keep a close eye on Whitehorse Island's every move. And you must immediately control the situation after the incident becomes a big deal. No matter what method you use, remember not to let the officials conduct too much in-depth investigation, so that outsiders will think that you want to make a big deal out of a small matter." Bertnard nodded and said, "Mr. Wade, don't worry, I will grasp the measure." Soon, Bertnard ordered the employees who had already gone to sleep after work to repair the power supply of the communication equipment. During this period, netizens around the world who were watching the live broadcast of Tawana's bar singing found that all related live broadcasts were terminated at the same time. They all thought that there should be some problems with the communication on the island. However, they did not expect that they would wait for the live broadcast of those viewers to resume, but waited for Tawana to start broadcasting in person. After Tawana's account on the short video platform started live broadcasting, fans flocked to her live broadcast room. But no one expected that during the live broadcast, Tawana cried and said, "Just now, a group of terrorists landed on the Whitehorse Island. They drugged all the guests in the bar and held them hostage. If it weren't for Mr. Bertnard, I'm afraid I would be dead." Instantly, the internet social media around the world seemed to have staged a major earthquake. If these words hadn't come from Tawana herself, no one would have dared to imagine that such a world-class popular singer would encounter a terrorist attack in a resort. So, the whole world paid attention to it. Bertnard also appeared in the live broadcast. He and Tawana took pictures of all the unconscious guests and said to the camera, "The reason why Miss Sweet and I are awake is because they gave us the antidote and wanted to squeeze more benefits from us." The subsequent plot was just as Charlie planned. After Ma Kuei finished reloading all the dead men, he came to the camera and said loudly, "Hello everyone, I am Ma Kuei, also known as Jack Ma. I am an Australian of Chinese and Japanese descent. I joined a mercenary organization named Blackwater 10 years ago. I have been carrying out missions in the Southern Hemisphere for many years." In the video, Ma Kuei described the specific circumstances of the incident in detail. Chapter 6900. In order to enhance his credibility, he followed Charlie's instructions and not only explained all the details of his time at the company clearly, but also took out his mobile phone to show his information on the internal app of the company and the details of this mission. At the same time, he also said that the real reason for his terrorist attack was to assassinate a warlord of the opposition in Syria, and then to create a terrorist attack and put the blame on the biggest competitor of Blackwater, Cataclysmic Front. After learning about this, the shareholders of Blackwater almost went crazy. They never expected that the carefully selected Ma Kuei would betray them mercilessly and almost push them into an abyss of no return. They can do many dirty things, but the premise is that they can't be leaked in this life. Originally, they thought that the plan was perfect, but they never expected that Bertnard and Tawana, the two internationally renowned bigwigs, were also on the White Horse Island. What's more, Ma Kuei betrayed the organization for money and even killed many of his men. Then, after Ma Kuei confessed in front of the camera, he pretended to take out a potion and asked people to let all the unconscious people smell it. The magic of this potion is that after the unconscious people smelled it, they began to slowly open their eyes. In fact, the potion had no effect at all. It was just that Charlie's plan was to wake everyone up from a coma at the right time. For these people, it was like a wonderful dream. When they opened their eyes, the suspended memories immediately came to their minds. And everyone remembered the situation before the coma when the terrorists came in. Elaine was so scared that she blurted out, "Please, all of you, please let this old woman go. I'm old and I haven't had a good life. This is my first time in the Maldives. I can't lose my life here." Ma Kuei hurriedly said to her, Don't get me wrong. I was going to carry out a terrorist attack just now. But when you were unconscious just now, I had reached an agreement with Mr. Bertnard. He will give me a generous reward that is enough for me to live a life of luxury. And I will swear allegiance to him. Except for the few loyal subordinates around me. All the other Blackwater mercenaries I brought were killed by me. In other words, you are all safe now. Elaine asked him in disbelief. What do you mean? You won't kill us? Ma Kuei nodded heavily. No, thanks to Mr. Bertnard's generosity. I have chosen to be loyal to him alone in this life. From now on, you can rest assured, because you are completely safe. Ma Kuei's answer made all the people cheer with joy. Those who didn't understand were confused. And the people around them hurried to explain to them. Soon, everyone knew the good news. And they felt like they had survived a disaster, cheered excitedly, and even hugged their loved ones and cried. Elaine and Jacob were also in tears because of excitement at this time. The two hugged each other tightly and couldn't help but cry. At the same time, the entire internet had exploded. Tawana ruthlessly broadcast the entire situation live. And at least hundreds of millions of people around the world watched it in real time. The Maldives' top leaders were also furious and immediately sent more than half of the country's troops to Whitehorse Island. You know, the Maldives army has a total of only about 3,000 people, excluding the commanders and logistics. There are probably not even 2,000 people who are truly combat capable. The Maldives military's mobile ships have a maximum displacement of more than 100 tons, most of which is second-hand equipment from neighboring countries. The Air Force has only 2 or 3 foreign-aided helicopters, and its mobility is very poor. So the first batch immediately sent dozens of Marines to Whitehorse Island to control the situation. At the same time, the top leaders also called Bertnard personally, asking him about the specific situation of Whitehorse Island with great concern. After he told the other party that the situation was under control, the other party told him that the army had set out